Let's talk about the Denver Broncos. This is tape one-on-one on what not to do and how not to trade for a quote-unquote franchise quarterback. The Denver Broncos are in a horrible situation. They just decided to bench Russell Wilson for the last 2 games. They're going to go with Jarrett Stidham. And this is a team that is still in the playoff hunt, but more than likely they won't make the NFL playoffs. Their defense for the first half of the season was atrocious. Middle of the season, it did get better. Give Vance Joseph a lot of credit for that. I gave him a lot of flack for what happened against the Miami Dolphins. I was basically saying fire the man after that, and he came out and he proved me wrong. He got the defense right. This is about Sean Payton and Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson hasn't been bad this year. He hasn't been great. He hasn't been former Russell Wilson, but he's been very good this year. He's had some good throws to Cortland Sutton, some very good throws that have been dropped by Jerry Jeudy, but they've had some good games this season. They beat the Minnesota Vikings in good fashion. They beat the Kansas City Chiefs. This team has won more games this year than they did last year. And they look very good in the back half of the season. Now, the last 2 games haven't been particularly well. Against the New England Patriots, Russell Wilson didn't play horrible in the game. He had 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions. And that was the biggest thing last season. Russell Wilson putting the ball in harm's way. But the offensive line was terrible. He was tied with being the most sacked quarterback in the NFL with Justin Fields. I do feel bad for Russell Wilson in this way. He has a brand new head coach that's basically putting him on a short leash. He lets Russell Wilson cook when he wants him to and when it seems fit. And when the offense isn't truly working, Sean Payton doesn't go away from it because he's an old school type of coach. These two are not going to gel well with each other. Every time Russell Wilson makes a simple mistake, he's yelling at Russell Wilson. He's in Russell Wilson's face. Sean Payton is an over-aggressive head coach, which some people love. He was a brilliant mind years ago. He did make Russell Wilson look better this season. I will give him that. 26 touchdowns to 8 interceptions are not bad. But Russell Wilson did not deserve to be benched, in my opinion, for Jarrett Stidham. I understand that there's some money involved in this, but if they go around, they cut Russell Wilson, they owe him $85 million guaranteed, regardless, because next year, his contract is fully guaranteed. So it's no getting from underneath this. You just go out there and cut Russell Wilson, then who's your franchise quarterback is going to be? And this is a team that hasn't had the draft capital in the last couple of years because they made that huge trade to go get Russell Wilson. They put multiple first-round picks in that trade. You put some mid-round picks in that trade as well, and you traded Noah Fant and Shelby Harris. Forget trading the 2 players. It's the first-round picks you trade for Russell Wilson. Not only did you do that, you went out there and paid him before you even saw him take a single snap with this team. That is terrible management by the Denver Broncos. And I understand they're heading to a new direction. You had Nathaniel Hackett last season. Now you have Sean Payton. Regardless of what happens for the rest of the season, they need to talk with Russell Wilson, see if he could take a pay cut, if retirement is an option or whatever it is. I know in my situation, I wouldn't be talking about no retirement. I want all my money up front. So that may be one of those situations. You look at Russell Wilson, he's not taking a pay cut. He wants all that money up front. I look at Sean Payton as a guy that would try to make an example out of Russell Wilson and say, man, you know what? We got to let him go. Just cut him. We'll eat the dead cap. That ultimately is, he doesn't get final say on that end. He does get final say with roster decisions, but far as just making a move like that, that is from upper management. So if they want to go in that direction, go ahead, but it's going to cost you a lot in the short term and it may help you out in the long term, but we will see. But the reason why the Denver Broncos have not had that much success this season has not been because of Russell Wilson. He's looked okay this season. He's not a franchise quarterback anymore. He's not that top 5 to top 10 quarterback he was with the Seattle Seahawks, and he never will be again. Especially in Sean Payton's system. Sean Payton has put him into the old typical Drew Brees type of system. Don't throw too many passes over the middle of the field. Throw passes to the running backs, throw some short passes to the wide receivers, and occasionally throw the fade ball to a guy like Cortland Sutton. But I also look at it from this situation as well. It's been a lot of miscues with this team that are not Russell Wilson's fault. When they had that first turnover against the New England Patriots, they should have opted to kick the field goal. Why are you going for it on 4th and goal? When your offense, you don't have that much confidence in your offense to begin with. And if you believe that Sean Payton has a lot of confidence in his offense, look at what happened against the Detroit Lions. He doesn't have that much confidence in Russell Wilson at times. Kick that field goal, trusting your defense that has been very good on the back half of this season. Trusting those guys. You have Patrick Surtain. You have good players up front. You have Browning at the linebacker position. He's been very good with this team. You also have Justice Simmons, who's been a phenomenal safety the last couple of years. Believe in those guys because you look at the offense, it's more than just Russell Wilson that's messed up here. Jerry Jeudy has been a bust with this team. And I understand they say they don't give him the football as much. He never had a true quarterback. I have seen him drop wide open passes Wide open passes. He gets open down the field and he just completely blacks out. He has 1 receiving touchdown this season for 625 receiving yards. And Javonte Williams has been a very good running back with this team. 701 rushing yards, 2 rushing touchdowns. Yes, his yards per carry are ugly, but this offensive line is still not top tier just yet. They're better than what they were last season because you had Russell Wilson go out there. He was tied of being the most sacked quarterback with Justin Fields. They've gotten better in the pass protection, but they're still not an elite offensive line. And I look at Marvin Mims, very good electric wide receiver. 361 receiving yards on the season and 1 receiving touchdown. But they're not true number 2 wide receivers alongside Cortland Sutton, who is a true number 1 wide receiver. 10 receiving touchdowns, 770 receiving yards. He's their only consistent wide receiver with this team. That's the only consistent target that they have. So Russell Wilson may not be who he used to be, but he's not the reason why they're losing football games. A lot of it is from the coaching decisions of Sean Payton. And he should have challenged a lot of plays and they went against the Detroit Lions, but he didn't. He decided to sit on those timeouts and not throw the challenge flag. That's not on Russell Wilson. I don't like how Sean Payton is just trying to put everything on Russell Wilson. Sean Payton is a very good offensive mind. I will give you that. But to just put everything on Russell Wilson like it's his fault, it's not his fault. When the offensive lineman was offsides, he goes and basically calls out Russell Wilson, yelling in his face. Why are you yelling at Russell Wilson? It's not his fault. Yell at the offensive lineman. When Jerry Jeudy drops passes, he doesn't get in Jerry Jeudy's face. But every time Russell Wilson makes a simple mistake, he's in Russell Wilson's face. And I understand it's that tough coaching. But some guys don't take that like other guys do. I think that Russell Wilson made a horrible mistake on his end. This is the point in the video to where he should have stayed with the Seattle Seahawks. He should have stayed with that team. It was the right team for him. You had the right coach in Pete Carroll, and they let Russell Wilson cook. And at times, they did take the football away. But I believe Pete Carroll was on to the curve before anyone else was. He saw that Russell Wilson cannot fully carry a franchise on his back. You look at the most successful seasons with Russell Wilson, he's had a lot of help. The defenses with the Seattle Seahawks early on, the Legion of Boom, they were phenomenal. And you also had a great run game with Marshawn Lynch as well. And even in the years to where Russell Wilson was the MVP for the first half of the season, in the back half of the season, he faltered out, but he was still a very good quarterback. The roster around the Seahawks and around Russell Wilson were very good. The defense wasn't the same like how it was with the Legion of Boom, but it was still very good. And he had very good wide receiving targets in DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. He also had Doug Baldwin in there as well. You don't have those type of wide receivers on this team besides Cortland Sutton. I'm just saying. But Russell Wilson proved that he's not 100% washed, maybe 60 to 50% washed, but he's not 100% washed. You can still win football games with Russell Wilson. The biggest thing here with the Denver Broncos, they traded a lot of assets to get this guy, and they paid him a lot of money. And that on top of another has initiated a flame between him and Sean Payton. To be completely honest, this is one of those franchises that you just look at and just shake your head because they still do not have a clear-cut answer at that quarterback position since Peyton Manning. And he left this team in 2015. They haven't had a true consistent starter since then. This team has had Drew Lock start games. You've had Trevor Siemian. You have Brock Osweiler. Remember him? You've had those guys start games for you. And none of those guys were the answer to this quarterback problem. And they still don't have the answer to it. And Jarrett Stidham is not the answer to it either. This is a guy that played with the Patriots, played with the Raiders. He's a backup at best. I do expect for him to come out in the next 2 games, and he will possibly look solid. But Sean Payton has to change his offensive philosophy as well. Sometimes it looks too outdated. He runs that same system that he ran with Drew Brees in 2014 and 2015. That NFL is long gone. I do like the route concepts that he have with stacking the wide receivers on top of each other. You have Cortland Sutton alongside Jerry Jeudy. You have Jerry Jeudy on a delayed route and just have Cortland Sutton go up the field so he can just draw that double team. And then you'll have Jerry Jeudy wide open and the flat, you just have him wide open on a slant if he can catch the football. But besides that, the Denver Broncos are in a terrible situation moving forward. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Denver Broncos? Should they find a way to move on from Russell Wilson, and what should they do with him moving forward? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one, guys, stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. Peace.